Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Man alive. I didn't go anywhere. The rumors of my demise are greatly exaggerated. Isn't that the quote? Isn't it something like that? We're back in the saddle, folks.
I'm back in the saddle again.
Back in the saddle.
Out where a friend is a friend.
Hello, friends.
Where the longhorn cattle feed on the lowly gypsum.
I just now realize this song has longhorns in it. Back in the saddle again with you here in the Bureau. I got a text yesterday from Beaver.
Where you sleep out every night and the only law is right.
Somebody text him. Somebody text Beaver and said, hey, I heard a rumor Matt quit doing his show. No, I took 2 days off.
Back in the saddle again. Whoopie-tie, yeah, I go my way.
All right, back with you.
Back in the saddle again.
Live, yes. It's a live show. This is the real deal. I'm Matt. JB's here. Most importantly, you are here. Back in the saddle live with you in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau studio. Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau across the great state of Mississippi. Your hometown heroes. That's your local Farm Bureau insurance agents. Lots of ways for you to be a part of the show today. It's going to kind of feel like a Monday because it's my first day back. See, look, this is what it boils down to, okay, is you had little kiddies out of school on Monday. So it had a long Easter weekend, right? So this past weekend, Easter Sunday. So my daughter was out on Friday, but they were out again yesterday also. So we just kind of made a long family weekend out of it. And if that rubs you the wrong way, it'll just have to. Because I'm back now, whether you like it or not. Yeah, and I specifically chose the Gene Autry version of Back in the Saddle versus that Aerosmith song. And what's the name of that one?
Back in the Saddle.
And so it's Back in the Saddle too? Yeah.
But it's screaming Steven Tyler.
Yeah, and so I got
he goes like,
Well, see, if I'd known you were going to try to do it, JB, I'd have just played the real thing.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. No, I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. I could have gone with this. I've used it before.
Got him on the spot. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Up your nose with a rubber hose.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome
Mr. Cocktail. Yeah, I could have just gone with that. So we are back and rocking and rolling. So, yeah, it sort of feels like a Monday for me in that it's my first chance to sit down with y'all and, I don't know, hash out what you saw over the weekend for college baseball, which, is pretty interesting. Things, start to even out a little bit. And, of course, Ole Miss really, really got some bad. Well, I don't know if they've gotten the news just yet. I hadn't quite seen it yet on Twitter, but
MRI today.
So, all right, so Elko's getting the MRI today, and so we'll know pretty soon.
Yeah, and I heard on Chris's show that he was named National College Baseball Player of the Month for March.
Man, he was just off to an incredible start. That's one thing I was noticing. And if you're just tuning in, you're like, what are they talking about? I did kind of jump. Last night against North Alabama, University of North Alabama, and they are a really bad baseball team this year. Ole Miss put up 20 runs on State beat them 18-1, and Ole Miss put up 20 runs on them last night. But Tim Elko, Ole Miss's best player for all intents and purposes this year, at least in terms of just production. We're not talking about pro prospects, just in terms of production. Tim Elko banged his knee up on a weird throw up the line, got away from the first baseman. He's trying to avoid him around the bag, thought about rounding the bag, go to second base, and then just crumples down on the ground holding his knee. Next thing you know, they see him in the dugout with a brace on his knee and on crutches. JB tells me they're getting the MRI today. I know the quotes last night after the game, obviously, from Mike Bianchi at that time, he didn't know for sure what it was. And so I guess as we sit here in the middle of the day, if you're listening live, we still don't know. But after the weekend, so I guess I waited until yesterday morning to go check the stats, the SEC baseball stats. And when you start looking at hitting stats, Elko is up there in the top 5 in just about everything in the SEC. Now, what was it? He leads the SEC in RBIs. He is, tied for the lead or second in home runs. He was sitting there about to hit double-digit home runs already at this point in the year. And, you just kind of observe their team and observe him. It was pretty obvious that Elko's a leader. He's this smiling, mustachioed old guy on their team, who's kind of been around the block and one of these COVID seniors and was really making the most of it. And, so for him personally, you just hate it. I've relayed those thoughts to you before, tried to illustrate it as best I could for those that maybe didn't get a chance to go through it themselves. But for anyone who's ever played ball, certainly organized ball at any reasonable high level, you know what I'm talking about here. The worst news a ball player can get is that you're not going to play. You can't play. I've illustrated it before. It could be any sport. Mine was football, but it could be any sport. If you had, let's say you broke a rule, and the coach comes to that player and says, I'm going to give you two choices for your punishment. You can either, A, we're going to run sprints, we're going to do agilities, I'm going to run the absolute you-know-what out of you until you almost die. I'm going to give you the worst physical punishment I can possibly give you. Or you can sit out one game. Every time the true competitor is going to say, I don't want to miss a game, so I'll run. I'll do anything other than missing a game. I'll accept anything other than missing a game. That's pretty much what you get from any true competitor.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt. Just answer the questions. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready.
Let me introduce you to the show's host because I think he's back with us now. Matt.
That'll be good.
Is that Louvier's voice that I hear?
It sure is.
Louvier, I'm back. Glad you're here. What's up?
Well, good afternoon, gentlemen, and go Saints. We lost you for a minute, and immediately JB waved the white flag, said, please help, and so here I am to help please.
Well,
the basketball game last night was, it looked to me like Gonzaga was a really good basketball team, and Baylor was a really good group of athletic tight ends that happened to play basketball and could make three-point shots. But those dudes' shoulders were big. I'm thinking NFL scouts were saying, yeah, I'll take that number 11. He's big. They were giant. They were just bigger, more physical. They got them off the block. They got every hustle, rebound. They out hustled them. They out physicaled them. And look, they outshot them. They got a bunch of easy layups with good passing and good teamwork. Gonzaga's a good team. That number one sure is a good ball player, and he had a very quiet 20-something points, right? But Baylor, whoo, man, them boys are big, So I'm headed to Natchez, and maybe I'll pick up some Fat Mama's tamales and bring them to JB.
I'm on board with that, pal. I love Fat Mama.
Yeah.
FMT.
Matt White will be jealous. Can't get them to you, Matt White. Sorry there, brother. Love your show. Go Saints.
Go Saints. I've been there. I went there one time to the Fat Mamas in Natchez.
Yeah.
Right across the street from that old antebellum home. Well, I say that old antebellum. There's 50 of them down there in Natchez.
Yeah.
But been there one time. It's super duper. Yeah. It's
I
super
love that
duper.
town. Cool town.
Hey, and I get this. He's talking about that game last night. So Baylor just blew the doors off of them to begin the ball game. what was it, like 11-0 before we even get a timeout.
Yeah.
Gonzaga,
I was shocked.
I was too, and Gonzaga cuts it to 10 at halftime, and I remember telling Annabeth before I fell asleep, I told Annabeth, hey, I'm tell you what, it's a pretty good job, cut it to 10. Before half, the way the game was going. And then you look up, and what's surprising is by the end of the ball game, Gonzaga had a better field goal percentage than Baylor did. Did you know that? Now, I don't know how I don't know how we figured this out. It's an 86-70 16-point win. Gonzaga shoots 51%. Baylor shot 44.8%. I'm just looking at a few of the stats here. But that three-point shooting, they step out there and make 10 threes. Gonzaga makes 5 and shoots 29% from 3, and that was kind of a big difference. And, of course, getting, the rebounding. That's kind of which is what Olivier was saying is Baylor just was so dominant.
That cat from Lake Charles, Louisiana, he's a senior, Mark Vital.
Yeah.
They got him listed as a guard forward. He's 6'5", 250.
Yeah.
He got, I think, 4 rebounds on his own missed shots at one series down the floor.
How about that?
I mean, they were beast on the boards. They reminded me so much of a Denny Crum Louisville team from 1982, 83 with Scooter McRae and Rodney McRae and those guys. Because they would just pound the boards.
How about How about Baylor had as many offensive rebounds as Gonzaga had defensive rebounds? Yeah. Baylor has 16 offensive rebounds, yet Gonzaga had 17 defensive rebounds. I mean, they just totally owned the boards for sure. Let's see what Thibodeau says here to start us off.
I was texting you. He had to go.
All right, Thibodeau, hit us back, man. Back over to just real quick to the conversation about the baseball thing. It's just a huge loss for Ole Miss. It didn't look good. Best case scenario is you get this MRI today on Tim Elko and something comes back that, it's not permanent damage, that maybe he's able to recover and get back and help your team. But Elko, losing him is a huge loss for that Ole Miss baseball team. No question. And it's an even bigger loss for him because he's a senior. He's a COVID senior. It's his last go around that way in the Ole Miss uniform. And so you just, on a personal level, you hope he doesn't lose it. Because like I said, there's nothing worse, literally, in terms of punishment or anything that could happen to you as a player. We're not talking about in life. Even the pain of the knee injury, there's just nothing worse than having to miss the games, watch your guys play without you. So I kind of feel for him what he's about to go through if that thing does indeed come back to be serious. We'll keep an eye on it. Y'all hit me up on the Country Pleasing text line. Here's a number if you need it, 885-ESPN. It's a 601 number, 885-ESPN or 885-3776. Slippery when Rhett said, parenting question, just bought my 6-year-old a compound bow. What is too young? Well, I don't know. I mean, is it made for a kid? Or is he like the world's strongest 6-year-old? That's the next question. On to Baylor. Denzel said, Baylor winning by that much proved Gonzaga was emotionally and physically exhausted from their semifinal win over UCLA.
I'd agree with that to a certain extent.
And it could be, to say that it proves it, I don't know. I mean, but it seems likely, that could be
yeah, because I never
part
thought
of it.
UCLA would stay that close to Gonzaga.
Yeah. And UCLA, say what we want. They're an 11. We're going, they're an 11 seed. Cinderella. Guess what? They're really good.
They were a play-in now.
I mean, it's incredible. They were really good.
18.
Hey, and maybe it turns out that the Pac-12 is just better than anybody realized as a whole.
Right.
I mean, the tournament would kind of back that up.
It sure did seem that way.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Flowtown Ghost, tip of the cap. He said, on to the JB show. You get the JB show whenever the connection craps out on us.
Speaking of that, I told you Kyle and I are going to do a show. I need some help with the name.
Yeah.
We're working on a few names. Yeah. Kyle seems to like JB and the Fat Man.
Well, I don't know.
But it's we're looking forward to doing it on Tuesday nights.
Put a poll out on Twitter. Do
there
that.
You go.
And then I'll retweet it for you. Put a poll and let them vote. Don't let them do a write-in because then you get those like minor league baseball names like we talked about last week. the Huntsville Trash Pandas. We don't want that. JB and the Fat Man, that's not a bad one. It sounds like a good Quentin Tarantino movie title.
Well,
or something to that effect.
I threw something out, but my wife, she didn't really like it because she thought it was, but it was all tongue in cheek. And I said, why can't we call the show Vanilla Twilight? She goes, what do you mean? I said, two white guys talking sports at dusk.
Dusk, yeah.
But she says, no, don't do that. That's stupid.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it's stupid. I just think it's very 1974. It's like if that's the name of your show, you lead in to the theme song is Afternoon Delight. That just doesn't work. Okay, it ain't gonna work for sports radio.
By the Starland Vocal Band.
Yes. So we can't do that.
I didn't mean to sidetrack us.
That's okay. 3-Hump Camel Country Pleasing text line 885-ESPN 885-ESPN or 885-3776. 3-Hump Camel says Doug Gottlieb retweeted that Gonzaga looked like an AAU team playing the Hood team for the first time. Did he retweeted that? Did you get any backlash to that? I don't know what gets backlash and what doesn't anymore, to be honest with you. Olivier said that you can't use the name Houdat Hotline because that's already taken. He's just letting you know that he's already claimed now. The Houdat Hotline. Hey, and by the way, hey to everybody on the live stream. Thanks for tuning in. Sven was the first to say hi. He's watching on YouTube over in Germany, so it's 7 hours later over there. Back in the studio. Yep. He says hi to Matt and JB and everyone else from snowy Berlin. You're right. Today it snowed in Berlin, Germany. How about that? Jason gave us a good day. Saints fan SB09 says Major League Baseball needs to stay out of politics. Love the hat. Oh, I got my Masters hat on. This is Masters week. This hat is not, I didn't get this at one of the ones I attended. I think this was sent to me. A buddy of mine went in 2013 and bought me a hat. I got to go to a practice round in 2012, and then Annabeth and I got to go in 2018. And we have a bunch of stuff, but this was the hat that I liked the most. It's the only one I got from there, and he sent it to me that's yellow. I like this yellow hat. And it's just how hats are sometimes different. This one fits good. But it is Masters week. We'll be talking about it this week. My friend Don Williams, who's been covering the tournament now for over 30 years, he'll be with us on, Wednesday? Either Wednesday or Thursday. He's going to be with us on the show live from Augusta. So
you ought to come down and do a remote from Live Oaks.
Yeah.
Bo's doing one Thursday morning at the opening.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I might tune in for that.
I know it'd be quite a fur piece for you to drive.
Yeah. It would be quite a fur piece.
Especially early in the morning.
Well, and I got a lot of travel between now and, this month it's just going to be
escalating on you.
Yes, very, very soon. But the show's not going to suffer because we've got a plan to make sure we're on the air a bunch and that kind of thing. But it's going to be a travel-filled month for sure. Okay, David on the live stream says, hey, Matt and JB, Hail State. Can't wait to see y'all and the Bulldog family next Saturday. For what, David? For what? Oh, Super Bulldog? Is that what you're talking about? So we're a little over, I guess inside of 2 weeks, the Super Bulldog weekend. Yeah, you got one more weekend of baseball series this coming weekend, and then Super Bulldog weekend when you get Ole Miss and State both in Starkville. Jason wishing Baylor congratulations, and we got some more comments on the live stream. We'll get to those in a bit. First up, though, on what is kind of sort of feeling like a Reaction Tuesday here, kind of a slow start, but we'll get into it. Chris on the Davini Equipment phone line. Hit me up, Chris. What's up?
What's up, Matt? First things first is I think Gonzaga was emotionally drained because I was emotionally drained watching that game myself. I can just imagine what they were.
How about this, Chris? Did it remind you, you talk about this emotional drain, and you know what it kind of reminded me of? Remember when itty bitty Morgan Williams hit that shot in overtime to beat UConn for the women a few years ago in a Final Four?
Yeah.
And then after losing to South Carolina, they even said, Vic Schaefer didn't outright make the excuse, but he said, it's just realistic. We had this big emotional high, and he said, heck, our team, we weren't even able to go to sleep until like 4 o'clock the next morning, and rightfully so. So I think there's similar scenarios there.
The other thing is how about when they beat South Carolina the next year, didn't they, to go into the national championship, and then basically played real flat against Notre Dame, didn't play like they'd been playing all year. So that may have been another example of it.
Yeah.
But JB, I got you two suggestions for your name.
Okay.
How about you said JB and the Fat Man? How about the Preacher Man and the Fat Man?
Oh, that might be good.
Well, preacher, you could do Preacher and the Fat Man. You know, you got to be careful with the number of words. You know, and see, JB is technically 2 syllables, so Preacher is 2 syllables. So you don't want too many the words "the" in the title. So look, Preacher and the Fat Man. That's pretty good right there.
Or Clergyman and the Fat Man.
Or what?
Clergyman and the Fat Man.
See,
Clergyman and the Fat Man.
Clergyman is 3 syllables. I think you need 2 syllables and the Fat Man. So I think Preacher and the Fat Man. I think you.
So I'm gonna tell Kyle y'all like the Fat Man.
Sidekick in the Fat Man.
There you go.
Sidekick in the Fat Man. How about that? Because he's always Matt's sidekick. But anyway, congratulations, State. Congratulations, State, and let's go take care of business this weekend.
Appreciate it, Chris. Thanks for the call, buddy.
Have a good day.
That's a heck of a suggestion right there, JB. You might need to write that one down.
I think I did.
All right. Just getting started with y'all on this is kind of a Reaction Tuesday in the Farm Bureau studio. Stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech-Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech-Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt. Just answer the questions. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their No Bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if you know who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi. And that's where I stand.
A lot of people in the equipment world, you know, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute.
Or the Matt Wyatt Show. The guy who, if he's not talking sports, he's fishing for bass, okay? But he's right here, right now. Online at 1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
Hey, all right, we're back. Rolling along with you here on this Tuesday, live in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Studio, Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. They are your home team. I got hot coffee to pour in the mug from High Point Roasters in New Albany, Mississippi. High Point Roasters. Let me pour a little more in there. I need some more than that. There we go. HighPointRoasters.com. Get your coffee there. If you haven't ever tried that, I really do highly suggest it. Give it a shot. Y'all text me, y'all call, okay? So call me on the Davini phone, Davini Equipment, Madison and in Jackson, your Kubota dealer. Here's a number, 995-1059. It's a 601 number, 995-1059. Or hit me up on the text line, 885-ESPN, 885-ESPN. So either way, pull out your handy-dandy phone from C Spire, the #1 network in Mississippi, and either call or text, and we'll get it on down the road that way. I'm coming to some of your texts here in just a second. But I wanted to take a look at just a couple of things. Weekend baseball results. Now, by now, it's all wrapped up from the weekend of SEC baseball. We can take a look at the standings. I'll do that just to kind of hit the reset. I know that new rankings and stuff came out yesterday. There was not really a lot of change. Florida able to take 2 out of 3 at home against Ole Miss. And we knew that was going to be a very competitive series. And, a team like Florida, at Florida, if you're Ole Miss or anybody else, going down there, winning one game, being competitive across the weekend is plenty good as it relates to the season as a whole and RPI stuff. But I do think, just side note, we'll come back around to this, I do think people like me sitting here talking about it, we're used to talking about RPI and hosting regionals and all that kind of stuff. We're going to have to change that conversation this year because it was announced yesterday, or it got out there yesterday, the NCAA is not going to give out regionals and super regionals on a merit-based system. You're not going to earn that. You have to bid and host it. They're going to predetermine all the postseason sites. It's a COVID thing. I don't think it's a political thing. I do think it's just sticking with the COVID priority model that they've had in other sports and trying to make baseball the same way. So, as it relates to RPI stuff, I think it's time to change, how we talk about it. It's still important because seeding is going to be important, which determines kind of what teams you're up against and those kinds of things. But it's going to be a very different year in terms of our conversations throughout the year because most of the time, every game, every weekend, we're talking about RPI, we're talking about hosting and the advantage of that as it pertains to getting to Omaha. This year, I think a lot of that's going to be ignored because of what the NCAA did. So, back to the deal. And it's 2 out of 3 for Florida. That's a really competitive game. 3 that they win by 1 run over Ole Miss, 6-5. So, it was certainly needed for Florida. They are very good. Don't let the fact that they got swept by South Carolina the weekend before that fool you. They are very good. And speaking of South Carolina, what did they do? They took 2 out of 3 from Georgia. I know they beat Georgia like a drum in that last game of that series, beat them 13-7. Yeah, they took 2 out of 3 and back ended the series. Georgia won the first game, but then, it was a Saturday, Sunday, so a big win on Saturday, and then they finished that one out on Sunday. Of course, Mississippi State gets a sweep of Kentucky. And sweeps are hard in the SEC. They're very hard to get. Ole Miss has 2 of them. They swept Auburn at home and Alabama on the road. State has a sweep of a good Kentucky team. Kentucky's not great. They're not ranked, but they are good. They're competitive. They have good players, and to pick up a sweep just kind of sort of feels like you're one game back into the mix than you were the week before getting swept by Arkansas. So, picking up the sweep was important for State. Vandy goes to LSU in Baton Rouge and sweeps them. And LSU is just hurting. They have one SEC. What are they, 1-7 or whatever it is in the SEC? And they just lost their Friday night starter for the year with an elbow injury. So it couldn't be worse for them. Listen, Auburn went in there and won the first game against Arkansas. Then they had 2 close games, and the last one, Arkansas walked it off. That's how close that series was. Auburn was really competitive. And I'm talking about like within an out at the end of this game and an out at the end of this game from maybe even sweeping Arkansas, So that's baseball for you. Auburn did pick up 1 win at Arkansas, and overall that's pretty good. Seems like A&M took 2 out of 3 from Missouri, and Tennessee took 2 out of 3 from Alabama, and that was your SEC weekend. Christian McLeod got the SEC Pitcher of the Week for State. He was really good. He faced 20 batters, got 18 of them out. Struck out 11, did not walk anybody. No Kentucky batters got to third base against Christian McLeod. And from the 2nd to 6th innings, he got 12 straight, nobody getting on base. He was just really good, had a breaking ball working. It wasn't that high, fastball, that spinning fastball that everybody swings under it. It was the breaking ball, the big 12-6 look to it, and nobody could touch it. And it was in the strike zone. They had to go after it, but nobody could put the bat on it. So he gets Pitcher of the Week. The Player of the Week was Gonzalez from Vanderbilt, went 8 for 12 across their 4 games. The Newcomer of the Week, Carter Young from Vanderbilt, was really good. And then Will Sanders was the Freshman of the Week for South Carolina. All right, back over to the phone line. Thibodeau's with us now. What's up, Thibodeau? Thanks for calling. Thibodeau,
how's it going, guys?
I'm good. What's up?
So right before we cut off last week on Thursday, I had a shout-out for 105.9 because one of my current customers heard the ad on the radio and heard me calling in and thought that was really neat. Well, the very next day, Good Friday, I was out trying to get as many of my current people done as possible because it's about to be Easter, but the wet ground's been such a challenge. But I'm working in one of them's yard, and he comes outside to greet me like he always does. And he was like, "Hey, man, heard you on the radio." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." He was like, "I didn't realize that you were Thibodeau." I said, "Yeah." He was like, "Well, guess what? I'm Bama Tommy."
How about that? How about that?
Yeah,
so did you guys hit it off?
Well, I mean, we've known each other for, he's been a customer for over a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's
So
a
he
member
just
at
made
Live
the
Oaks,
connection.
too.
Yeah. He told me the same thing. So, the guy that has the good calls about why he's a Bama fan but loves living here, he actually lives in the same neighborhood I do and is one of my customers. And I thought that was really cool that we're making that connection. I wanted to issue a challenge to all the listeners very quickly. If you're in the Madison-Ridgeland area, today, the very first phone call that I get, your first service is free. And that's 601-842-6815, Magnolia Lawn Keepers. Your first service, Madison-Ridgeland area, is free for the first phone call I get. There'll be another area tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Now, JB, here's the name for your show. Brojo and Big Boy.
Brojo and Big Boy.
Big Boy.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. I like Big Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a little less abrasive than Fat Man. But I like Big Boy. Yeah. I wonder if... Does Shoney's still exist? You're not going to get sued by Shoney's if you do that, are you?
No, but if I could get Kyle in them overalls, I think he would look great.
That would be good.
Well, I hope everybody had a happy Easter. That tomb is still empty.
Amen.
It's it's a good thing to think about, that it's empty and it's always going to be empty. That's our hope right there. So hope everybody's doing well. Look forward to hearing from some people, and loving the show as always. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks for the call, Thibodeau. Appreciate you. We got time. Winslow with us on the Davini Equipment phone line. What's up, Winslow?
Hey, man, how's it been going?
Great.
Hey, I'm assuming you saw some of the State Kentucky series over the weekend.
Yeah, I saw pretty much all of it.
Do you remember the right fielder's name for them?
No.
John Rhodes. Does that ring a bell?
No.
The pitcher who gave up Roy Hobbs' last home run.
You kidding me?
Nebraska Farm Boy.
The Nebraska Farm Boy. He's a big left hand. He's got a great fastball. And his name was John Rhodes in that movie? How did I not know that?
Yeah, spelled slightly different between the two. But every time he came up, I thought about you, and I had to wonder, were his parents a fan of The Natural?
Of The Natural.
Because you already got the Rhodes, and you're always sitting there going, okay, I'm going to name him John Rhodes, like the picture in the movie.
Would it be a little too presumptuous to name your kid Roy Hobbs? That's right. So maybe you go with the guy who gave up the home run. Yeah, he's a Nebraska Farm Boy. He's got a great fastball. I remember the line of the announcer that they dubbed in over that scene. I just didn't remember the name, John Rhodes. I appreciate you in giving me a little enlightenment there on the movie.
Yeah, all righty, good. Enjoy the show. Thank you.
Thank you, Winslow. The Natural. So the guy who they brought the pitcher in, the left-hander, to face Roy Hobbs, that eventually Hobbs hits the game winner and busts the lights. In the movie, his name was John Rhodes. You learn something every day. Nebraska Farm Boy.
Big Nebraska Farm Boy.
He's got a great fastball. Next thing you know,
the whole scene happening right now.
Yeah. Next thing you know, sparks are showering down all over everybody. What a scene. And the music and soundtrack of that movie, written by Randy Newman, of all folks. That's great stuff. All right. Call, text, enlighten me. Tell me something about The Natural. All of that. And I'll come to your texts next. I'm Matt. In the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Arrived today. Jeans do come true. Thank you, Blue Delta. Yeah, jeans do come true. That's what the bag says. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi, my hometown. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Design a jean. And before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase. Again, that's if you listen to me, you can use discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase. And at checkout, you're going to get a 10% discount off your order. So I just went online, ordered them. BlueDeltaJeans.com. A couple weeks ago, went in. I didn't go get measured. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are at my doorstep a couple weeks later. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Nice. I'm happy. I've known the Blue Delta team for years, and I'm thrilled to have these guys on as a sponsor of this show. Blue Delta's Virtual Tailor is a fun and easy way to get yourself into the best fitting pair of jeans you're ever going to own. Bet you never thought you'd get a butt shot out of me, huh? How about that? Just answer the questions and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions. It's amazing how they do it. They will fit perfectly. You're not going to find better material and better feeling pants, period, anywhere. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. I promise you that. And I know that you are going to love them too. Make sure you use the code. And remember, jeans do come true.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Let me tell you about an ice cream can't be beat.
The very best tasting you can eat.
It's Meadow, 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 Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. Go to your ice cream man today, and here's the word that you should say. Oh, give me Meadow, Meadow, Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. And remember, folks, Meadow Gold
is mighty good.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
6 o'clock, dinner time. Thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Yes, thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding. The terrific busy day dessert you can make at the very last minute. See how quick and easy. Just add it to cold milk and beat it up. That's all. By the time you're ready to eat it, it's all ready for you. Jell-O Instant Pudding, made by the famous Jell-O folks. So creamy, so nourishing, so delicious. No other instant pudding is quite the same. Stock your shelves with all 7 flavors. The good busy day dessert. Jell-O Instant Pudding.
The Matt Wyatt Show.
We have another totally awesome episode for you today.
And it's streaming right now online at thezone1059.com and on your radio on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
Back with you in the Bureau. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Just give you a heads up. Use my name over there and get a pair of those custom blue jeans, Blue Delta jeans from BlueDeltaJeans.com. Use my name, get a discount. Okay, go to BlueDeltaJeans.com, go to the virtual tailor, and I did it, and it worked. Okay, so you go to the virtual tailor, click it, start answering the questions. There's some measurements, yes, but it's basic measurements, and you answer other questions, order your jeans, and they show up at your house, and they fit perfectly. I'm wearing mine right now. Not that you needed to know that, but I am. But they fit perfectly, okay? Try it out. And if you use my name at checkout, you get a discount, 10% off your purchase. Just Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, no spaces, just Matt Wyatt, and get yourself a discount. That's at BlueDeltaJeans.com. Fox College Football on Twitter has got a nice question here. I didn't think about this. Who had the more dominant championship game performance? Was it last night Baylor beating Gonzaga by 16? Or was it Alabama beating Ohio State in the football championship 54-24? Which one, huh?
That's not the worst beatdown in the Final Four. To me, anyway. The worst one was back in 91 when UNLV skull drug Duke in the championship game by about 50.
Yeah, and Tarkanian over there chewing on a towel.
Yeah, and Grandmama Larry Johnson is dunking all over Bobby Hurley's bean.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Larry Johnson, I'd forgotten about him. That was a great team.
Stacey Augman.
If you had to look at it, this year's championships, 52-24 Bama over Ohio State, or last night 86-70 for Baylor, which one was more dominant? I think the football one probably, to me. I mean, because like I said, I mean, that was a 10-point game at halftime. And in college basketball, 10 points, hey, that's a lead. It's significant, but it's not by any stretch a blowout yet. And 16 points at the end of the ball game. I mean, Gonzaga hung in there. I don't really know that Ohio State really hung in there with Alabama. That's just through my eyes, the way I see it. Country pleasing text line. Country pleasing sausage on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Side note, I'm about to read your text, Nick, but first, since I mentioned country pleasing, I was on the phone with a friend of mine this morning from Starkville, Mississippi, who says to me, Matt, have you been in the Starkville Walmart lately? I said, no. In fact, it's probably been 25 years since I've been in the Starkville Walmart. He says, well, let me just give you a heads up. They have a section, a cooler section over in the meat section of the Starkville Walmart, where up top on the rack, it's the country pleasing flavors that, you know, are a little more common, like the original and the jalapeno and cheddar. He said, but underneath it is this giant cooler, and they have everything you can think of in there. He said, all these flavors you're mentioning on the radio, the 3 cheese and the black pepper and cheddar and the maple, the blueberry maple. He said, it's all in there. I was like, really? He said, yes, you can get it there. And it's not just the Starkville Walmart. It's the little, you know, out on the bypass across from the Hilton, they have the small kind of market size Walmart. It's the same thing in there. Well, he sent me a picture a little bit ago. Hey, I guess he went by to get him. So I'm looking at it. I cannot believe the selection they have there. So I'm just giving you all a heads up. If you're headed in for ball games and stuff, that's a place where you can get some flavors that you haven't tried that you might not actually have in your local store. And as I hear about those, I'll kind of give you the heads up. All right, so Nick's text on the Country Pleasing text line says, when the other team shoots 50% from 3, you lose more times than not. On another topic, what's up with the NCAA assigning regional locations in April? Yeah. So what, the tweet comes out yesterday. It gets out there. I think Kendall Rogers from D1 Baseball, the first to put that out there for the public. And the NCAA says they're going to predetermine the regional and super regional sites this year for baseball. Bids go in starting April the 12th. They're going to announce those sites on May the 10th. So you know early in the month of May who's hosting. And there are situations where you may have a school somewhere that is awarded a host of a regional and doesn't make it. May happen. I mean, I don't know how they're going to, I don't know if it's capacity, what. Now, I like to think, Nick, that this is not a political thing, that it's strictly like you look at the other sports. It's about COVID. It's about COVID protocols, staying as close to it as they can, minimizing any risk whatsoever. Yes, the threat of lawsuit stuff probably has something to do with it. You know, I guess they're looking at it going, hey, it's possible that if we don't do this, you could have a school in a place that maybe isn't really capable of kind of keeping athletes and teams isolated or going through testing or something during their event. And we can't afford to send one there, so we got to go ahead and predetermine it this year. Maybe I like to think it's COVID related, you know. Do I think that State and Ole Miss have a great chance of hosting? Yeah. I don't know what the quote-unquote bid process is for something like this, since it's new to all the baseball programs around the country. But I would like to think they have a great chance of hosting it. They've hosted before, 90 miles apart. We'll see. Let's jump over to the phone line real quick. Davini Equipment phone line. John in Greenwood. What's up, John?
Hey, Matt. I appreciate you taking my call, man. I just want to talk about that dominating performance by Baylor last night. It looked like 05 Lanier High School versus Jackson Academy. I mean, they couldn't dribble. They couldn't keep anybody in front, just getting owned on the boards. But I guess my point is, if it can happen at a school like Baylor to win a basketball national championship, why not? Why can't it happen in a school like Mississippi State or Ole Miss? I'm a State fan, so obviously I prefer it to happen at Mississippi State. But I don't think Howland's going to get it done. I like where Howland's got in the program, but I don't think it's going to happen to the Howland. But my point is, if it can happen at Baylor, it can happen at a school like Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to hear your thoughts.
Well, think about this, John. March. Let's see what was the date here. Hang on 1 second. If I could get this pulled up. Well, I don't have the exact date. March 2018. Second round of the NIT tournament. Mississippi State 78, Baylor 77.
I remember it well.
Yep. Who was it? Was it Q
hit the 3.
Yep. Q hit the 3 at the end, and it rolled in, and that's Neil Price goes, it goes in, and that's how they beat Baylor, who was a 1 seed in the NIT. So we're talking about March of 2018. Mississippi State and Ben Howland meet that Baylor team, same coach, in the NIT. State actually won the game on a buzzer. Since then, a little bit different trajectories. I mean, that's one thing we can definitely agree on. Now, and it is true, it's a fact that you lost last year. We didn't get to see the culmination of a year when you had a Perry and a Woodard on the same team, and they wound up, in the NBA and all this kind of stuff. I get it. But what I think is you have to look at it to answer your question, John, and go, no doubt, if Baylor can do it, yes, and Mississippi State can do it. You go, well, how? Well, the overall answer is it's easy for somebody like me to spit it out. It is recruiting and coaching. Recruiting and coaching. But I'm sitting here looking at Baylor was in the same exact boat as Mississippi State basketball in 2018, March of 2003, 3 short years ago. They were in the same exact boat. State beat them by a point in the same tournament, the NIT. And yet look where Baylor is. So how do you get there? You figure out a way to load that roster. What does it take to load the roster? Well, we can debate from now until a month of Sundays from now about how to load that roster. We can debate from now forever about the style of play. But, I watched Baylor last night. Watch them shoot threes and watch them go up and down the floor. I watch Alabama's team this year shoot threes and go up and down the floor. And I'm starting to lean towards the idea that maybe, just maybe, John, in 2021, playing half-court offense and dribbling the basketball around until the end of the shot clock, and we're going to out-defense people and win low-scoring games. And guess what? That ain't it. And if
I was shocked. I didn't realize that Scott Drew had been there since 2003, and that's a long tenure.
Oh.
But I appreciate you taking my call, and I enjoy the show. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, John. Appreciate the call. It's just
Scott Drew, Bryce Drew, Homer Drew. All those Drew boys can draw up good basketball plays.
Well, like you said, I mean, he's been there since 2003. It ain't like it's overnight for him.
18 years.
I mean, 18. So, and you go win a national championship. But I'm looking at the makeup of that team and the way they play.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'll watch Alabama's team this year and under Oates and the way they play. Well, listen to me. That's it. That's it right there. That's how you're going to do it. It's kind of like whatever is the basketball equivalent of hiring Mike Leach to go figure out a way to throw the ball. Do it.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way it feels.
Oates is high on the list for the North Carolina jobs, what I'm hearing.
North Carolina already hired Herbert Davis.
See, that just tells you I missed out this morning, man.
Y'all stick around.
There's a lot of noise when it comes to 5G.
We're 5G ready.
We're 5G-ish. At C Spire, we're not playing their game. The fact is, 5G doesn't always mean 5G speeds. But thanks to our exclusive fiber technology and hundreds of millions invested in network updates, we can deliver 5G speeds right here, right now. Discover the difference at cspire.com/5G.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt. Just answer the questions. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if you know who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi. And that's where I stand.
A lot of people in the equipment world, you know, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will save you money. Orchard fresh and delicious.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Now, if you know your oats and want to feel your oats and taste how good an oat cereal can be, well, you'll go for Cheerios. Great way to start the day with really great eating. That's Cheerios, one of the few foods made from oats. The tasty cereal grain everyone should have at breakfast. Crisp and golden as only a toasted oat cereal can be. And nourishing? Why, a Cheerios breakfast gives you the power protein that grown-ups need to help stay in trim and youngsters need to grow on. Toasted oat goodness, toasted oat flavor, a delicious power breakfast. That's Cheerios.
And on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Okay, let's go. Hour 2 of the show off and running. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau. Text me, call me. Call me on the Davini phone, 995-1059. Get to hear your voice that way. A lot of good callers in hour 1. Louvier jumped in with JB, saved the day. The connection went out. Fingers crossed, so far so good. And then we had Chris and Thibodeau and Winslow and John over in Greenwood talking a little basketball. So y'all can be like them. We get to hear your voice, and others can too. Call me. Or text me on the Country Pleasing text line. It's 885-ESPN, 885-ESPN. If you need the number itself, it's a 601 number, 885-3776. Hey to y'all on the live stream. Periscope still works. They said they killed it, but it's going out there. Caleb's watching it on Periscope. I don't know how that, I'm not complaining. And to everybody on Facebook and YouTube, hey to everybody who's tuning in on the live stream here as we start hour 2. Caleb said on Periscope, how about a reaction on the NCAA's new regional host site selection process? Yeah. We touched on it some, Caleb, in the first hour, but I'll give you a few thoughts on it here. And I'll preface it by saying that today is not a day, well, many days, frankly. Today is like many days for me. It's not a day where I've been able to consume any content from other folks, other shows and other opinions. So there may be some information out there that y'all need to enlighten me on that could educate us on this subject. Like what Walking Bully sent us on Twitter a little bit ago. He said it is still merit-based, just the decision's going to be in late April instead of after the season. Yeah, but that's not what they said. They said, well, decision in late April said they're going to announce it on May the 10th. You know, my thing on it, let me back up. That's what the initial information yesterday said was, put your bid in starting April the 12th. Well, if it's merit-based, then why are we bidding? Then what is the bid if it's merit-based? When I say merit-based, I'm talking about wins and losses, earning it on the field. Okay, is that the wrong term? I don't think it is. So the point is, you ain't going to earn it. They're saying put in a bid. We're going to predetermine.
Don't they do that anyway right now, Matt? Early on, bids have to be in. If it was a normal regional deal, each school puts in bids and how they host. So it's really not that much different.
They go
now,
out and earn it based on seeding. If you are one of the top 16 seeds, no matter who you are, you host, unless you are some reason incapable of hosting. If you're one of the top 16 seeds in college baseball, as basically seeded by the NCAA, but we know what they go by, right? They go by the RPI, largely by the RPI, not to the letter, but pretty much every year. You go find me the top 16 in the RPI, that's pretty much who's hosting. And you go find me the top 8 in the RPI, guess what? That turns out that's who your national seeds are, meaning they're the top 8 seeds, and if they win their regional, they're also hosting a super regional. So they seed it. I mean, nothing is... in the past, y'all tell me if I'm wrong, seriously. You earned it on the field by your seeding. That's the way it's always been. See, and Kendall had a thing that said, just so you know, the predetermined sites will be based on merit in late April. He says they aren't just going to be sites selected for no reason at all. Okay. So so the last couple of weekends we're saying, not even the last couple of weekends. What are we saying? The last month of the season doesn't matter? And here's my thing. Why are they telling people to submit bids? If it's merit-based, that don't make any sense at all. And you can tell me there's nuance. Well, in this, there shouldn't be. Either, just like always, you're earning the right to host it, or you're not. Which is it?
All right, so clarify something for me, and maybe for some of our listeners who aren't quite as educated on this. Currently, you've described a situation where You put in bids, but you got to be one of the top 16 teams to host, right? Because if let's say you're a top 25 team, you're number 24, and you put in a bid to host, and you don't have a very good late April, okay? But then you come out, and in May, you don't lose a game in the month of May and win your conference tournament.
Yeah, I mean,
still relegated to not being able to host.
No, that's what they're saying. They're saying that it's wrapping it up, okay? They're going to wrap it up in late April where it's going to host. I understand it's going to be COVID-related. Maybe they're going to, when we say COVID-related, that's why they're going to speed this up so that wherever the host sites are, the NCAA can work with them to make sure everything is up, well, to use a construction term, to make sure everything's up to code. Okay, you can meet every protocol, whether you are Starkville or whether you are, whether you're Stark Vegas or you're Las Vegas or you're No Vegas. We're going to make sure that you can meet the protocol. We'll work that last month leading up to that week after the conference tournaments to make sure all the regional. And I get it. Okay, so maybe it takes a month or over a month. They're going to announce them on May the 10th. That kind of thing. Oh, well, that's what it said yesterday. They're going to announce it May the 10th. But bids, the original tweet, the NCAA will have predetermined regional and super regional sites in this year's tournament. Sources tell us the sites for both rounds are going to be announced the week of May 10th, and bids must be submitted by April 12th. Yeah, sure, maybe there's a bid process. Okay, even to host, if you're supposedly going to be one of the top 16, you have to be able to show them you got hotels. You think the NCAA has any doubt whatsoever whether places can host teams coming into town or not? I mean, what I see in all of it is, again, I'm not just looking for an excuse to question the NCAA. I'm not just doing that, but I'm legit questioning them. I mean, you're talking on both sides of your mouth. Why can't they just come out and say, tell us the truth? Hey, look, this is all about COVID protocols, and we got to speed the whole process up a month. Okay? We can call it bids all we want to, but what we're going to do is we're going to see who, number one, is a combination of have earned it and got enough hotel rooms. Is that what we're doing? Here's another question for you that I don't know. In the past, State and Ole Miss, 90 miles apart, have both earned regional hosts. Well, if we're predetermining that, are they going to do that again? Or is this an out on that? Does hotel space have more of an impact on whether or not you host this year than in years past? Here's why I ask. And I don't know the answer. But the reason I ask is, okay, as part of this, they're going to look and see there's got to be enough hotel space to not only support fans getting there, but to support basically having a lock-in for your team so that there's no COVID coming in and out. If that's the case, who gets Tupelo? All right. Does Ole Miss get credit for Tupelo, or does Mississippi State get credit for Tupelo, or do they both get credit for Tupelo? An hour or less from each. Lots and lots and lots of hotel rooms here in Tupelo. Okay, so you can see that basically I have more questions than I have answers on that. Ultimately, it's just I can't really wrap my head around a scenario where both State and Ole Miss aren't heavily considered to host. All things considered. And one of those is capacity in your stadiums, right? Because, I mean, for all I know, if this is COVID-induced, for all I know, they also have to consider space to accommodate fans for every team that's in this regional.
Well, it's kind of like from the Department of Redundancy Department. the bigger you are, the better chance you have to host because you can have more people socially distanced.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If they're going to consider the capacity, because you got to be able to accommodate all these fans while still keeping them 6 feet apart. If that is part of it, then, then you would think the bigger stadiums have a better chance. But it's ambiguous at best, is what it is at this point. And maybe the NCAA didn't intend for it to get out right now, but if you start making schools and people aware, well, you're getting it out, okay? You just go ahead and
This is the baseball
assume
selection committee, Matt?
Yeah.
So it's not just the NCAA.
Yeah, it's baseball.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's baseball.
So it would have the same equivalency as if it was the NCAA basketball tournament selection committee determining regional sites.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I wondered about neutral sites, too. When I first saw bid, I thought, okay, we just opened it up to bids. Why wouldn't Trustmark Park and Pearl bid on hosting the thing?
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of hotel rooms, got an airport. But I guess that's not what they mean. Not just opening it up to neutral sites, apparently. Let's go to the text line. Country Pleasing Text. MSU 1980 says, Matt, I agree with you about the bids. I've not understood that for years. I thought it was merit-based. I think it is merit-based. But they get schools to bid early to get their bid numbers higher than if they just told you were a host, so the NCAA gets more money for the tournaments. But see, MSU 1980, I don't think that's the way it works, because they aren't writing the check to the school isn't writing the check to the NCAA for having hosted that tournament until after they've hosted it. Does that make any sense? I mean, there is some math equation of gate receipts and revenue and that kind of thing where if Mississippi State hosts a regional on its campus, 4 teams coming in, whether State wins a regional or not, there's some math equation that they then take the proceeds of that thing they hosted on their campus and they write a big fat check, send it straight to Indianapolis. Well, they do it afterwards because it's based on the results of the event. That's my understanding. There's no set amount, and there's no determining that set amount ahead of time, which is kind of what you're touching on. I don't think it works that way. Hold on a second. And I may have to flip through. I had a document here. This is for another thing that I was working on. And it might, here's an example. Let me give you, how about this? Just turn right to it. Let me give you an example. Let's see if I can see what year this is. This would have been, this was several years ago. Okay, so this is not like the last couple of years. This is several years ago back down the road. This might have been, I guess this is more than 10 years ago, but it's just an example. Mississippi State hosted a super regional on their campus. In game 1, they had a paid crowd of 12,260. In game 2, they had a paid crowd of 13,715. After that event, 2-game super regional, Mississippi State sent the NCAA a check for $175,000 for those 2 games. Hosted them on their campus. And see, and I guarantee you there's some of us that just heard that and went, holy cow, I didn't know they had to pay them to host those. I thought they got to host it and it benefited the school and the program getting to host it. Well, it does benefit you, but you're going to pay the NCAA because it's their tournament. Ellis Shue says, does our lack of mask mandate hurt us, hurt our state to host those things? It may do it. May absolutely do it. And then it does, if that's the case, then it does become political, right? Okay, but hold on a minute. See, that's what I'm saying. Here's where the confusion comes in. Is the follow-up tweet from Kendall Rogers from D1 who said, just so you know, the predetermined sites will be based on merit in late April. Get your bids in. Okay, so LSU, I would say to you, if that in fact is true, which it's Kendall Rogers D1, you got no reason to believe it's not true. If that in fact is true, then no, the mask mandate shouldn't hurt. Have you earned it? It's telling me it's still merit-based. We're going to find out, aren't we? We're going to find out if somebody's not telling the truth somewhere. Jason in Flagstaff says, that makes no sense any way you slice it. If it's about COVID, why pick places a month in advance when we've all seen that it takes less than 2 weeks for an area to explode? On that note, Jason in Flagstaff, aren't we all keeping our eye on Arlington, Texas? You see those pictures from, what was it, yesterday or was it the day before? I guess it was yesterday, Monday. The Texas Rangers in their new ballpark, Globe Life Park, where State and Ole Miss played in the preseason college baseball tournament or early season tournament. They had 40,000 people there. No distancing, no masks. If there is a mask mandate, they didn't bother with it. But, I mean, it's packed full. 40-something thousand people at a Major League Baseball game had the roof open. Slammed in there. It looked just like a normal thing. That whole place was full of people, shoulder to shoulder. And immediately, well, Clay Travis calls them Corona Bros. Okay. You know, call it what you want. But immediately, those of us that are like, especially the media that are super sensitive to COVID, they immediately start tweeting away, keep an eye on the local emergency rooms over there in 6 days from right now. Look, say what you want, Jason, but everybody put your eyes on it. See what happens. If there's not some sort of like major spike in that area within the next couple of weeks, what do we do with that? I'm talking 40,000 people in a stadium shoulder to shoulder as if COVID never happened yesterday. If you don't have some major spike in that area over the next couple of weeks, what do we do with that? See, all I'm doing right now is entertaining y'all, hopefully, because I sure don't have the answers, do I? I'm just saying, we got to keep an eye on it. Because if something doesn't happen, I don't know what everybody does with that. Tell you what Jerry Jones is going to do with it come fall. Be 100,000 in that place. Unnamed texter said, Matt, I think the bid encompasses more than money. It also has to include ability to accommodate testing, lodging, etc. And all those met, and then rank the RPI, and then break the ties and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And that's kind of what we were getting at is it seems like, you know, it definitely, the only reason it makes any sense that it's definitely COVID induced. They're going to move it up early so that before the actual event is hosted, they got plenty of time to run up to make sure those places got everything nailed down, every protocol nailed down, fans. Anybody who's ever been to one of these postseason NCAA events, you know it's a little different in every way, like parking and ingress and egress and signage. And so they're going to do something a little different. Great question from Caleb on the live stream. This is more of an observational thought here, but Caleb says, I wonder if the super regional sites won't overlap with the regional sites. You know, that's another thing, okay? Because generally what happens, just like we described earlier, every year, what do? You get 16 seeds. The top 8 are national seeds. What that means is the top 8 teams have priority on the next round. If those top 8 teams win the first round, the regionals, they're also going to host the next round. That's why they're the top 8. Well, if you're predetermining regional and super regional sites, how do you do that, Caleb? So, I mean, so This is what I'm asking. If it's predetermined and come May the 10th, they make the announcement, here's where the postseason of baseball is going to take place. Let's go a what if. What if on that announcement on May the 10th, Ole Miss in Oxford is in the top 8? Oxford is hosting a regional. No question. Whether Ole Miss is in it or not, they're hosting in Oxford at Swayze Field. But they're in the top 8. Does that mean also Oxford and Swayze are hosting a super regional no matter who's in it the following week? I have not seen that answer either. And I'd love to know. And it seems like that would make sense, right? Because that's generally what seeding the top 8 are anyway. You're putting them in a position to host 2 rounds of the tournament, not just one. You're putting them in a position to do that. It's not always the case. So you're seeding them that way anyway. You're going through all of this to make sure that the protocols are in place for COVID. We can darn sure make sure we get people in and out, protect the teams, plenty of hotel rooms. We can do everything, COVID protocols in place. Well, if that's the case, why don't you just carry it over one more week? Good thought, Caleb. I may be nuts, but I bet you whoever they say are the top 8 seeds on the regional weekend, that's where the super regionals will be the next weekend also. We shall see, said the blind man. We shall see. I'm Matt in the Bureau. Y'all stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will save you money. Orchard fresh and delicious.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Now, if you know your oats and want to feel your oats and taste how good an oat cereal can be, well, you'll go for Cheerios. Great way to start the day with really great eating. That's Cheerios, one of the few foods made from oats. The tasty cereal grain everyone should have at breakfast. Crisp and golden as only a toasted oat cereal can be. And nourishing? Why, a Cheerios breakfast gives you the power protein that grown-ups need to help stay in trim and youngsters need to grow on. Toasted oat goodness, toasted oat flavor, a delicious power breakfast. That's Cheerios.
Let me tell you about an ice cream can't be beat.
The very best tasting you can eat.
It's Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. Go to your ice cream man today and here's the word that you should say. Oh, give me Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. And remember, folks, Meadow Gold
is mighty good.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
6 o'clock, dinner time. Thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Yes, thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding. The terrific busy day dessert you can make at the very last minute. See how quick and easy. Just add it to cold milk and beat it up. That's all. By the time you're ready to eat it, it's all ready for you. Jell-O Instant Pudding, made by the famous Jell-O folks. So creamy, so nourishing, so delicious. No other instant pudding is quite the same. Stock your shelves with all 7 flavors. The good busy day dessert. Jell-O Instant Pudding.
at thezone1059.com.
Here we go. Rolling along with you in hour number 2 of the show. I'm Matt in the Bureau, in the Farm Bureau studio, Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team, staying connected to you because of C Spire, the #1 network in Mississippi. C Spire, customer inspired. We have Michael on the phone. Michael, and it says right here on my screen in all caps, Michael in Stark Vegas on the Divinity phone. What's up, Michael?
Man, I like that introduction, man. You almost can't get a better one than that.
Good deal. What's up? What you got on your mind?
Man, hey, that was a big bounce back weekend for our Diamond Dogs. Was it not this past weekend?
Yeah, needed that. Really did need it. However, they got it. And it wasn't always pretty, but 3 wins is 3 wins.
You hit the nail on the head. And with that being said, I think a lot of our fans, like I know Steve Robertson has said the same thing. A lot of times people go to social media about a player or something. At the end of the day, they all want Mississippi State to win. We all want Mississippi to do well. And as we all know, with any sport, if a player's struggling, it's not necessarily talent or ability. It's just a lot of times it's just the mentality of it. If I was playing ball in Mississippi State and I'm struggling, it's gonna get to me too. And sometimes it just takes one day, one hit, and it swings you right out of it. I have no doubt that old Josh Hack's going to break out of this slump, and before you know it, Matt, he'll probably be making a home run chase there before you know it. I know people may be listening to that and they're like, oh, come on, Mike. Well, all it just takes is one to get you started, and you never know. You could be off for the race.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, Michael, I appreciate your call, and I do agree with you. I think, Hatcher, bless his heart, man. I mean, you're not going to see many guys fight it longer than he's fought it here recently this year. And older guy, he does have the look of somebody who, if they stick with him, at some point the light bulb is going to come on for him, and he's going to make a big difference in their lineup. The tricky thing for a coach is knowing how long to let it go, and knowing, is it best for him and everybody in the team to let it linger and let him play his way out of it, or is it best to let him watch? Some guys need one or the other, and that's the tricky thing about being a coach. But there's just no question that to go a long way, they need more out of him. They need more out of some of the others, just need more out of that spot, and they have to figure out a way to get it. Michael, appreciate your call, and thanks for being patient and calling us today on the Divinity Equipment phone. Stay on the phone, Divinity Equipment, Madison and in Jackson. I got a guy on the phone named Hank, and it reminds me of another Hank. Maybe the same Hank, I don't know. Hey, Hank, are you there?
well, hi there, Matt. How you doing?
Hey! Did you watch a little basketball last night, Hank?
Yeah, I watched some basketball last night. I'll tell you, Baylor was really representing the state of Texas out there. Them boys know how to play. Them some good boys right there.
They put it on Gonzaga by 16 points. I didn't know you were a big basketball fan.
Well, if there's a team from the state of Texas in there, well, I guess I'll go on and support them. And I was telling my boy Bobby that Drew Timme never to get a mustache like that, because that's the mustache of from a don't look like a mediocre villain from a kid show. That's my boy Bobby.
Mediocre villain from a kid's show.
Also, if you want to, you can come pick up some. You can pick up a Baylor National Championship shirt here at the Propane Shop.
Oh,
where we sell propane and propane accessories.
That sounds great. Well, Hank, I appreciate that. We'll make sure we send people over there to Strickland Propane. All right, Hank, thank you, buddy.
All right.
He said that guy for Gonzaga looked like a mediocre villain from a kid's show. That is great. I can appreciate that. Thank you, Hank.
Now, you listen to me, mister. I work for a living. And I mean real work, not writing down gobbledygook.
Jeremy on the Country Pleasing text line says they bid every year for a regional regardless of seed. It's a formality for the most part for the top seeds, but you still have to bid. Okay. Formality. You know, if I couldn't come up with something to make better sense, attaching it to the NCAA process, then there it is right there. Let's just save that one. There's an example. The NCAA process involves schools and baseball programs bidding, putting it all together bid, but it's basically a formality because the top 16 teams are going to host. I mean, come on, man. What are we doing? Jonathan says, I know what's going to be on the cover page of MSU and Ole Miss bid. Hey, look, this new flag. We got a new flag. Attaboy, Jonathan. Yeah. The cover page, they're going to print out a booklet and send it to the NCAA, and the cover page is going to be the flag. Dog79 said that regionals used to be awarded by the bid process, quote unquote, back in the day. Hogjow texted us earlier. I missed it. He said, I don't know what I missed. I'm just now in range, but when Baylor beat Arkansas by 9 in the Elite Eight, I knew they were better than Gonzaga. Better athletes, better defense. Man, they were just, I'm talking, harassing Gonzaga's offense. They were so active. Mansplain says, Matt, I got an invitation from the athletic department to attend a spring football scrimmage on Saturday. I'm assuming this is not the spring game. Do you know the deal? Mansplain, it's my understanding they are opening that up. Now, when I say opening it up, if you got an invitation, you're welcome to go. Yeah, it's something new. I'm gonna try to be there. But yes, my understanding that some folks, they're going to let some folks in and watch the scrimmage. It's not the spring game, but a scrimmage coming up this weekend. Ellis Shue said, I'm going to have a T-shirt made with my vaccine card printed on it. Maybe that'll make people more comfortable. Unnamed texter said, Texas, the wild, wild west. Coffee Norman, how are you, sir? I got some hot coffee in here from High Point Roasters in New Albany, Mississippi. Notice I pronounced all the S's in the word Mississippi, and you should too. Everybody should. Don't say Mississippi. Drives me crazy. As if our reputation wasn't already of being lazy. We're going to be too lazy to pronounce all the S's in the name Mississippi. Drove me nuts. We used to have a governor, the governor of the state, be on national TV, Mississippi. It's got more S's than that. Coffee Norman says, am I right? There have always been bids? Yep, we've sort of confirmed that. But you old folks remember that. He says, now how that works and why bids are sent in, I don't know. And you can bet this opportunity for the committee to spread the wealth of hosts will be utilized. Coffee Norman says Ole Miss and State are not both hosting the way I envision it. I wondered about that too.
When was the last time they both hosted?
Well, it was just
early 2000s?
No, it was just a couple of years ago.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, it was just, I want to say
2016?
Oh, shoot. Yeah, something like that. It was the year that, would it have been Mangum's final year?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was the year they went to the World Series.
Well, then it would have been 19 then. 2019. That's when it was.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because 18 was the year State didn't host. They were down in Tallahassee. So it would have been 2019. That's when it was.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, it was like, you're talking 90 miles apart, and there were 10 to 12,000 at every ball game at both places. Just incredible. Anthony from Tupelo said they had 3 sections set aside for people that wanted to be socially distanced. Where? At that Yankees game? No, at the game in Texas. Oh, really? They had, okay. So they had 3 sections of the stadium set aside where if you want to come and be distanced, you be in this part of the stadium. Otherwise, it's up to you.
Right, and I think that's what they're trying to do with some of the ticket sales. I know for some of the concerts they're putting on back these days with live music, they're only selling tickets in like pods of like 15 and 20. Oh. So people that want to get together can get together, and then the other smaller tickets they'll, put out through the course of the stadium or the event center or whatever.
Okay.
But there's people want to be together, so they're letting people that want to buy, and in some of these instances, you got to buy a whole pod. You can't just buy into a pod. You got to buy the whole thing and have all the people. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Jason was listening to Michael's call from Stark Vegas earlier, and he said it sounded like he was hoeing a row while he was on the phone.
I told you.
He said, Lord, is he hoeing a row? He got a long row to hoe. That's great. Okay, and Spence, I'm going to read your text about that call in just a bit. All right, so stand by for that. That's a good text about the Bart Gregory home run call from this past weekend. That's all coming up next in the Bureau. You don't want to miss it. I'm Matt. Stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt. Just answer the questions. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their No Bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute.
Time to get back to the Matt Wyatt Show. Talking more great sports for you, Mississippi.
Online transmission is ready, sir.
Live online at thezone1059.com and
Keep your radio turned on
to ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
All right. Back with you. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau studio, Farm Bureau Insurance. Repeat after me. Go! With the home team. Hey to y'all on the live stream. Roshana commented earlier on Facebook. She said, hey, man, I see you with your Easter colors on since we missed you on Monday. Yeah, I was not here yesterday. Had a day off. My Easter colors is my kind of pale yellow Masters hat. My buddy went to the 2013 Masters and brought me a hat back, or sent it to me anyway. So it's Masters week. We'll get into that some later in the week as well. Yeah, all right. So the Country Pleasin' text line, Country Pleasin' sausage on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. 885-ESPN, 601 number, 885-ESPN or 885-3776. Spence said, Matt, I got to give a shout out to Bart during the State Kentucky game this weekend. And you said when Hatcher crushed his home run, was it Hatcher or are you talking about Hancock? I don't think Hatcher hit a home run, did he? I think Hancock hit the home run. He says but he said Hatcher. Anyway, crushed the home run to right field. Bart said, up jumped the boogie. I thought I heard that.
Is that like from Hotel, Motel, Holiday Inn?
Oh, gosh, I don't know.
Rapper's Candy.
Oh, yeah,
Remember
the
that?
Rapper's Delight.
Rapper's Delight. Is that where that comes
Up
from?
jump the boogie. That's what
Yeah,
it is.
that's it.
And
to the rhythm of the boogie.
Who knows where that came from? But you know what? The thing about it is, okay, so I didn't go back and watch it over again. I need to go see if I can watch it over again and record that call and bring it to the show and play it for you, because I heard the word boogie. It's one of those where I'm watching. I got it on the computer, I think, where I was, and I had it turned down, and I see the hit. Real quick, I turned the volume on, and all I heard was boogie. And I'm like, what did he say? I'm glad to know, Spence, because of you now I know what he said. Yeah, I think it was Hancock. That's great. Up jumped the boogie. Bill said, Matt, if they're not getting set monetary price, and exactly what are they bidding? He says, what I mean by that is exactly what goes into the bid. It's like we talked about earlier, Bill. I haven't been through it myself, but I'm just assuming, and others are, and assuming that what it is going to be is outlining everything you have, straight up capacity, ability to accommodate fans of other schools, hotel space in the area, restaurants, anything like that. And I would guess this year, if it's going to be a little more complicated and tricky, because if the NCAA has, I'm sure every school who could possibly host has to show, how they've operated the protocols, the mask mandate in their stadiums, the distancing stuff, kind of where they are and what they've been, or at least that they're capable of doing it if they get into the regional stuff, And since it's an NCAA tournament, they may say, well, look, your fans stopped doing the 6 feet distancing a month ago, but for our tournament, you got to do that. Well, I guess you have to show that you could do it, and then how many you'd be able to hold if you did that, and how you'd rope it off, and how you would dictate who's sitting where. So I'm assuming it's going to be a little more complicated in submitting all that information this year than it's been in the past. Coffee Norman says, one more thing, Matt. I hate to say it, but this points to some politics mixed in our sacred college baseball gumbo. As you can tell, I don't like it. And I understand that, Coffee Norman, in that you've got some apprehension as soon as you see that. And there were a lot of people who thought that. Oh, boy, we know where this is going. State of Georgia ain't getting any hosts, are they? You know, you could see that reaction. I understand. It's because once it has happened several times, you start to wonder when the next one is coming. As opposed to, you know, your politics are used to bend and shape sports. It's the other way around. Unnamed texter said, hey, Matt, in 2019, MSU, Ole Miss, and USM played in the NCAA tournament. I believe Vandy won the whole thing. Didn't Vandy have a top 5 Major League MLB draft pick? They did. What's that guy's name? Left-handed hitter, outfielder. Blade, J.J. Blade, I think was his name. He was top 5. Maybe he was.
Oh, we may have lost Matt again.
No, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, I'm here. I was just
freaked me out.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was just reading.
I got a little buzz in my headphones. That's why I was wondering.
Let's see. It's somebody saying that song.
Oh, there's a Kid Rock tune.
Yeah,
but you know, Kid Rock, he never writes his own lyrics.
No,
he steals them from everybody else.
He sampled that for sure.
He sampled that
from rappers.
Stole Sweet Home Alabama.
Walton says, this bid deal sounds like a lot of Big Brother red tape. More cowbell. Says the home run call was a reference to Kid Rock. What are y'all? I mean, no. Listen, we had an unnamed texter and now we have more cowbell. Listen, Kid Rock is much more recent than the original Rapper's Delight, which the lyric "Up Jump the Boogie" came from. Go look it up. The original Rapper's Delight was like 30 years. It was like, it was out about the year that Kid Rock was born.
Yeah, it was late 70s, early 80s.
That's where that lyric comes from. Just because Kid Rock has it in a song and somebody doesn't know Rapper's Delight doesn't mean it originated with Kid Rock. It didn't. Jason in Flagstaff says that he doesn't think this is about politics. He thinks it's a continuation of the NCAA, etc., chasing their tails to avoid being sued over COVID. That's what I think too, Jason, is. You know, number one, you've had this certain way of doing things, this certain, you know, protocol for your postseason stuff. You did it with basketball. You even did it with, you know, some things with other sports and your football stuff. Who knows? I'm sure there's stuff going on for the postseason in other sports where there maybe, you know, tennis and other things that the NCAA's got to look at all that. They're just trying to kind of treat all that equally. That's what I think. I don't think it can at all be the same as basketball. Baseball's an outdoor deal in college. So it can't be the same, but I think you're right in that it's less political and it's more, okay, these are our protocols. These are why our protocols. One of the why we do this is to avoid getting our rear end sued. You know, so I think it's got to be part of it. Spence, what did you say here? Spence in Brookhaven says, Matt, I heard you mention that you'd been to Augusta twice. I got to ask you, if you had to give one thing that absolutely blew you away about Augusta National, what would it be? Spence says he's been fortunate to go to the Masters twice. Also, his one thing that he could not believe was the elevation changes throughout the course. TV does not come close to justifying the different elevation changes. Love the show. Man, I mean, one thing, if I had to give one thing that blew me away about Augusta, what would that be? I mean, yes, okay, the elevation changes. Yeah. You know, I would say that, there's a lot of things. Well, yeah, food prices can blow you away. But the other thing, too, is like the fact that you got Augusta National sitting there, that place sitting there, kind of out there in a little bitty small Georgia town that ain't much to it. I mean, there ain't much to Augusta at all. You wouldn't think that if you hadn't gone.
I sent my resume one time to First Baptist Augusta when I found out they were looking for a pastor.
Is that right?
Yeah, got back not interested.
Look, that course is so manicured and pristine. I think that's probably the other thing too. It's like every piece of pine straw has a place, and it has to be put in its place. And it's just, the beauty of it is pretty doggone incredible. But yeah, the elevation, you're walking up and down hills, and you don't get that on TV. You don't understand it. It's like 17 people hitting their approach shot on 17 up that hill. You watch it on TV, you can tell it's sort of up a hill. They talk about it being up a hill. Well, you go look at it, and buddy, it's up the hill. They can't even see the ball land up there. They got no clue where it landed when they hit it. Here it is, what we've been screaming about. This is where the lyric "Up Jump the Boogie" came from, originally, not Kid Rock. If you leave us, have a great night. If not, stick around for hour number 3. More coming your way. I'm Matt. Stay with me.
You don't stop, rock the rhythm that'll make your body rock. Well, so far you've heard my voice, but I brought 2 friends along. And next on the mic is my man Hank. Come on, Hank, sing that song. Check it.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Arrived today. Jeans do come true. Thank you, Blue Delta. Yeah, jeans do come true. That's what the bag says. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi, my hometown. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase. Again, that's if you listen to me, you can use discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, and at checkout, you're going to get a 10% discount off your order. So I just went online, ordered them, BlueDeltaJeans.com. A couple weeks ago, went in, I didn't go get measured. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are at my doorstep a couple weeks later. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Nice. I'm happy. I've known the Blue Delta team for years, and I'm thrilled to have these guys on as a sponsor of this show. Blue Delta's Virtual Tailor is a fun and easy way to get yourself into the best fitting pair of jeans you're ever going to own. Bet you never thought you'd get a butt shot out of me, huh? How about that? Just answer the questions and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions. It's amazing how they do it. They will fit perfectly. You're not going to find better material and better feeling pants, period, anywhere. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. I promise you that. And I know that you are going to love them too. Make sure you use the code. And remember, genes do come true.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Let me tell you about an ice cream can't be beat.
The very best tasting you can eat.
It's Meadow, 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 Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. Go to your ice cream man today, and here's the word that you should say. Oh, give me Meadow, Meadow, Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. And remember, folks, Meadow Gold
Is mighty good.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
6 o'clock, dinner time. Thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Yes, thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding. The terrific busy day dessert you can make at the very last minute. See how quick and easy. Just add it to cold milk and beat it up. That's all. By the time you're ready to eat it, it's all ready for you. Jell-O Instant Pudding, made by the famous Jell-O folks. So creamy, so nourishing, so delicious. No other instant pudding is quite the same. Stock your shelves with all 7 flavors. The good busy day dessert. Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Homes and trains them to become free, life-saving service dogs for our nation's veterans. If you're a veteran or know a veteran struggling with post-traumatic stress or traumatic brain injury, please go to AmericanHumane.org to learn about their Pups for Patriots program. Let's give our veterans a fighting chance.
This is WRKS Pickens Jackson. Live
in the studio.
Live and local. This is the Matt Wyatt Show. Talking about sports from around the world and right here at home. Streaming to you at the Zone, 1059.com, and on your radio on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
Hey, here we go. Hour number 3 of the show. Off and running with you. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Hour 3 every day, including today. That would be every day. Brought to you by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Anything residential, anything related to residential in Starkville, that's where you want to go. Overstreet Properties. See my man Kane Overstreet at Overstreet Properties. You can get the contact info, how to call or email at overstreetproperties.com. So if it's buying a house, moving up there permanently, or maybe not permanently, but a condo that's kind of set up and it's yours in the right place for when you come into town, you and your family, for ball games, leasing an apartment for a student, even investment property, anything like that. Overstreet Properties in Starkville. That's where you want to go. Start right there. All right, so here we go. Hour 3. First hour 3 of the week for us here. We were out yesterday, or I was out yesterday, and able to be back with you today. So Casserole Hour has begun. Really, anything's on the table. Whatever you want to talk about is fine with me. Hey to everybody on the live stream. We were talking sausage earlier, country pleasing sausage. Speaking of the country pleasing text line. But Paul commented on Facebook. He said, hickory smoked country pleasing sausage with toast and eggs this morning. You, sir, got off to a great start. Now, I said earlier that I was kind of knocked back by the fact that there's Augusta National sitting out there in the middle of this little town in Georgia. Well, Saints fan SB09 says Augusta is the second largest city in Georgia, 200,000 people. Is it really? I didn't know that. My impression of Augusta was a little place. There ain't much to it. Didn't seem like it to me. Maybe I didn't go to the right place. How about that? There's more than Athens? Man. All right. I guess Cobb County, Atlanta's counting Cobb County. Okay, I believe you. Because I'm sure it's Googleable for sure. Hey, speaking of Georgia, it makes me think about the Braves. You know, I don't know if you saw, but this weekend, Shohei Ohtani for the Angels. He's an incredible talent who missed all of, last year or 2 years ago? But regardless, he came into the league. He was incredible. If you hadn't seen him, he's incredible. Happens to be on the same team as Mike Trout. It's great.
Especially if you're an Angels fan.
Or if you like staying up late, because that's the only way you're going to watch them.
I know it.
But Ohtani, the starting pitcher, and he was batting in the 2-hole, okay? And he hits a home run in the game. The guy is fun to watch. I don't care what anybody says.
Kind of takes you back to Little League, huh?
Yeah, it does.
When the best players were pitchers and shortstops.
Absolutely.
And hit bombs.
Yes. Yes, and you just have never seen it in the major leagues. He's fun. Anyway, thinking about the Braves, and I saw this note. Let me see if I can pull up the correct day for you. Was it 98? Was it this day, April the 6th? 98? No, it was 99. All right. On this day, April the 6th, 1999, the Braves in Atlanta got a great start behind pitcher Greg Maddux. Mad Dog Greg Maddux, Hall of Famer Mad Dog. They beat the Phillies 11-3, but he not only got it done on the mound, he got it done at the plate.
Mets hammering the Marlins tonight, 9-6 in the 6th. There's a drive into left field. It's well hit. It's gone.
Ho-ho! There you go, Skip. You wanted to see his trot. Check it out.
How about that, as Mel Allen used to say.
Hey, it's hard to get him to smile on the field. And if that's what it takes, I'd like to see it again. He had a big grin on his face when he rounded third. There was no doubt about it.
He hit the daylights out of that ball.
Ron Gant knew it. By the way, we should point out that he's just tied for the team lead in home runs.
It was April the 6th, so they're only a few days into the season. How about that? Ron Gant playing left field for the Phillies. I remember that late 90s. That was hard to watch. As a big Ron Gant fan, what is it about the dadgum Phillies? I mean, you grow up a Braves fan rooting for Dale Murphy, and he goes and, off into the sunset, plays a year or two for Philadelphia Phillies. Come back and have Dale Murphy night. He's wearing a dadgum Phillies uniform. And Ron Gant, use him up in Atlanta. There he goes, off to Philadelphia. Play a little bit out there before his career's done. You got to watch Greg Maddox's home runs sail up into the left field seats back then. Yeah, but that was not his only hit. How about this? This was part of, a 2-hit inning for him. This day, 99, Braves beat the Phillies 11-3 behind Greg Maddux. Maddux hit a home run and had a 2-run single in the same inning. in Atlanta's 8-run fourth inning, becoming the first pitcher since Todd Stottlemyre in '96 to get 2 hits in the same inning. How about that? Yeah, the Phillies swept the Braves to open the season, 3-0. Then the Phillies turned around and beat the Mets, so the Phillies are sitting there at 4-0. Yeah, Sven, you're a Phillies fan. Look, they didn't just beat them on opening day. They beat them, 3 straight games. Now they're 4-0, beat the Mets. And if I saw this right, like I say, I have not been consuming any content. I've been working ever since the Christmas deal. I'm sorry, the Easter deal ended. But I think, Atlanta was supposed to play today at home against Washington, home opener, but they moved it to a doubleheader tomorrow for whatever reason. I don't know. And the Nats didn't get to open yet because of COVID stuff. Oh, that. Paul's reminding me that. I didn't really. Yeah, I had not looked that far ahead in the schedule. So they definitely are. Okay, Thibodeau on the phone. Second time today. That's our pleasure. What's up, Thibodeau?
Man, it's casserole hour, so I've got a casserole topic. But before that, I'm glad you played that soundbite of the home run because I'm a big fan of 9 guys fielding and 9 guys hitting. You know, so I love it when a pitcher gets to do something like that.
Yeah.
Now, as far as casserole goes, Easter dinner, Easter lunch, or however your family does it, that's usually prime time for a casserole to show up.
Sure.
But I think a lot of family dishes, whether it's a casserole or something, they get lost as our elder relatives pass on because they never wrote down a recipe and we didn't bother to learn how to do it exactly the way they do it.
Yeah, that's right.
I have a great example. My wife has been working for 6 months to a year now to try to replicate her mother's potato salad. And she can't seem to get it. It's a good potato salad, but she says it's not right, and she can't figure out what isn't right about it.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody out there listening has suggestions, please let me know, because we're trying to figure this out.
That's great. Well, you know, it may never be quite the same, huh? I mean, and maybe that's just the way it is. Hey, I'll tell you this much, Thibodeau, and this gives me a chance to brag, I guess, on my father-in-law. So we had Easter Sunday lunch, okay? And my father-in-law basically prepared every bit of it. And he's one of these, not only is he a big guy, but he does everything big as well. He buys everything big. He buys everything in bulk. Okay, we're not going to have a little meal, if you know what I mean. It's going to be big. It's going to be a big deal. And in the past, we had this one spot. We would all gather up as a family and go out to this one place and eat in Vicksburg. And then, of course, we didn't get to do it last year. And so this year, I mean, we got there to their place in Vicksburg on, I guess, Friday, and he was already in the process of getting everything ready. Okay? Now, this is Friday. We're going to eat on Sunday. You hear me? He's already in the process of there's some things to work on Friday. This is going to be a big deal. That meal on Sunday, I don't know if I can describe all of it. But from pork tenderloin to, the green beans with bacon in them the way that your grandmother made them, to this incredible pasta salad that was like a BLT pasta salad type thing. It's the best thing I've ever had. It was award-winning. Now, and there's food everywhere, and I'm leaving stuff out. I mean, there's all kinds of fixings, all kinds of stuff, and I'm sure I'm leaving out. But it was pretty incredible, and this guy fixed all of it. I loved it. And not to mention, here's the thing about it. Had other stuff planned for the weekend also. Like, we get there Friday. So Saturday night, He made a shrimp and grits, okay, that was a grits, a cheese grits type recipe. But he made this shrimp like sauce to go into cheese grits for the shrimp and grits that included obviously shrimp, but also mushrooms and green onion sausage from Country Pleasing in there also. That was Saturday night. Okay, to wrap all this up, for over a year, well over a year, but also certainly here lately, I've been doing a very good job of watching what I eat and counting my calories and exercising and trimming down. Really, even for the last month leading up to Easter. Buddy, I didn't just have a cheat day. I just had a cheat weekend. I blew the diet to pieces this past weekend, and I really don't even regret it.
Matt, your father-in-law and I could hang out because both my wife and I have got friends that live out of town, and once in a while we'll have them come in for a weekend just for visiting. And I always kind of look to how the Lord explains it to you, that you are to show hospitality to outsiders. Man, every time we have either her friends or any of my friends come in, they always look at me about halfway through the weekend and go, Thibodeau, are we going to stop eating at some point?
I mean,
because I've got stuff planned for the grill, stuff planned for the mornings, snack plates for the afternoons. It's always involved Country Pleasing sausage cheese plates.
Yeah. Look, I admire that. I really do. I didn't get that gene, man. I admire it, the hospitality thing, and like no stone.
Oh, it's fun.
He leaves no stone unturned. I mean, it's just incredible. And all the while planning this big meal, and we get up and like for breakfast, and there's biscuits and sausage and cinnamon rolls.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm going, man, it's like being pampered. And I'm not very comfortable with that.
No, I love it. I love to feed people, and I love to watch them eat.
Well, that's a neat quality to have. Well, you would have enjoyed watching us, man, because that's what I did all weekends. Ate and ate and ate. And I worked it off, okay? I went to the military park. What I do in Vicksburg is just about every day we're down there, I head out to the military park and walk it. And generally, Thibodeau, have you ever been Vicksburg Military Park? You kind of familiar with it?
I've been 3 or 4 times with my Cub Scout group when I was very, very, very little. So I know about it and I remember it. I'm going to tell you something. If you go down to that park and walk it, you are walking, brother.
Yeah. Well, and see, when I first started this, so this is over a year ago, I would go and I would choose one of the loops, either the North Loop or the South Loop, and just walk that. And so people that are listening that are familiar with the military park will know what I'm saying about this is like that North Loop where it cuts across at the Illinois Monument. So the North Loop, if you do that, you walk and you go in, there's the cannons, you go up to the top of the hill, there's the Illinois Monument, and then you kind of cut through that dirt road that they have there for you, and it takes you over to the Confederate side, and you walk out. That's about 3.5 miles. The South Loop is also about 3.5 miles if you walk it. Well, this past weekend, I did 2 things I had never done before. One is I went and walked both loops at once. All right, so I went and I started north, walked the entire North Loop. It's 3.5 miles. Get down to the finish and then hit the South Loop. Walk it. That's 3.5. So I go 7 miles. So that's a good many calories I'm working off just doing all that walking. It took me about 1 hour and 45 minutes to walk that 7 miles. Those 2 loops. Well, what is today? Today is Tuesday. So this would have been yesterday morning. I went and did something I had never done before. Is I walked into that North Loop, which takes you up there towards the, Illinois Monument and the old Jackson Road. But instead of cutting across the park, I took the extended route past the Shirley House, and then way on up there towards the direction of Graveyard Road and Fort Hill and all that, the very north end, back side of the park, if you will, where the only way you could go any farther in the military park would be to walk all the way to the Cairo down on the river, the boat. So I'm telling you, that walk, whipped my fanny. No, I wasn't jogging. No, I wasn't riding a bike. I was walking. My father-in-law called me when I was up there on the Graveyard Road, the old Graveyard Road. Y'all, anybody who's been there knows how far that is and how up and down it is. And that's when it hit me. I mean, at that point, I'm 3 miles into it and realized I got 3 or 3.5 to get back to my car, back up and down those same hills. Buddy, it was a walk. So I didn't feel quite so bad about all the food I had eaten after that.
I wouldn't either. I would go get some more after.
I'm telling you. Have you ever driven up through there, JB?
Oh yeah. Growing up, basketball team would go over there and ride bicycles through all those hills.
Well,
I've jogged it a few times, but no, I got over that real quick.
Yeah. I mean,
well, a lot of people that haven't been there, they have a misconception. They're thinking, oh, well, this is a Civil War battleground, so it's going to be kind of like the Delta. It's going to be flat. No, sir. Vicksburg is below lower Delta, so it is bluffs and hills.
That's the thing that blew me away the first time I ever went to Vicksburg. You know, like with many years ago with Anna Beth. I'd always heard about Civil War stuff. You hear about Vicksburg until you go and you start riding up and down through some of those neighborhoods in and around town. And like you just go downtown, you would have no idea. And when we say, you hear people over the years have heard, you know, bluffs at Vicksburg or hills, and you think, hills, bluffs, okay. Yeah, go look at it and go stand on it. I mean, there are places downtown.
Yeah, they're miniature cliffs.
No doubt. There are streets, old brick streets in downtown Vicksburg right now where just to stand on them will scare you to death. Because if you lose your footing, man, you ain't stopping.
Yeah. I grew up in Clinton, so I spent a lot of time in Vicksburg throughout my upbringing, and I was always like, man, this is a slope everywhere you go.
Well, and I'll say, okay, nobody, I guess, tuned in to hear me talk about Civil War military stuff, but here I am. So it's a casserole hour. But look, as we talk about that military park and the hills, this is one thing that strikes me, and I wonder if y'all agree. There are parts of that military park at Vicksburg, I stand there, okay, and you understand the history, and you see those blue markers that show you some of these approaches where the Union Army was attacking before they realized they couldn't do it. And we just got to have a siege here because we ain't going through there. Before they realized that, they tried to attack several times. You know what stands out to me, guys, is how utterly, frankly, dumb the Union commanders must have been to think that they could possibly attack them over there, over that terrain. What on earth would have possibly led them to believe they could pull that off? Because I'm talking, it's straight down the hill and into a gully and then straight up the steepest cliff and bluff. And they got they've got one of these, what do they call them, redans sitting up there with a cannon on top of it, and they've built these earthworks. You had literally zero chance of overcoming that. Yet they tried it and got about 5,000 people killed just like that, just the first time they tried it. I thought, what were they possibly thinking right there that they could do that? I don't know, man. They had a different thought process. I guess they would have thought I was a coward. But I'm like, I would have looked at it one time and said, they ain't doing that. Ain't no way. This is just maybe hindsight's 20/20. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Thank you, Thibodeau. Dynamite drop in, Monty.
Yeah.
That broadcast school really paid off. No kidding.
No kidding.
I guess he left.
He had to go. He's probably sitting there waiting to crank his lawnmower and get back to work. Yeah, I mean, there are places in that park I look at it, JB, and I'm just going, that you can't convince me of like how they could possibly justify trying to attack across that. And sure enough, guess what? It didn't work.
Well, to be honest with you, I think it made them really, really mad because when they got to Jackson, they left nothing.
Yeah. Well, see, and that was before Vicksburg. See, I mean, so the Jackson deal was actually before turning back and going.
Wasn't there a group that came in, and then there was also a group that was over in Vicksburg that they merged in Jackson? I'll have to look.
Well, they were going to try to. They were going to try to. Like,
I know there was something in the recent Clinton little history thing that I was looking at, talking about the battle for Clinton and all that.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting. You're right. I love that place over there.
It's interesting just to look at it. I look at it and you think about, man, the stuff these people were trying to do and trying to pull off. They had big dreams and goals, man, because I'm afraid I would have looked at it and gone, what? There ain't no way you're doing that.
Yeah.
I would not have been a very good supportive soldier, I'm afraid. Anywho, rolling along with you in the Bureau. Stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt. Just answer the questions. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if, who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big bird's eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will save you money. Orchard fresh and delicious.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Now, if you know your oats and want to feel your oats and taste how good an oat cereal can be, well, you'll go for Cheerios. Great way to start the day with really great eating. That's Cheerios, one of the few foods made from oats. The tasty cereal grain everyone should have at breakfast. Crisp and golden as only a toasted oat cereal can be. And nourishing? Why, a Cheerios breakfast gives you the power protein that grown-ups need to help stay in trim and youngsters need to grow on. Toasted oat goodness, toasted oat flavor, a delicious power breakfast. That's Cheerios.
Issues.
So I did my research and talked to my...
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Arrived today. Jeans do come true. Thank you, Blue Delta. Yeah, jeans do come true. That's what the bag says. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand-tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi, my hometown. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase. Again, that's if you listen to me, you can use discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase.
Work you for life.
You're right. It's the Afternoon Drive with Jake Wimberly. Weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 1059. The Zone.
Are you ready? Brace yourself.
Now back to the Matt Wyatt Show.
Back with you live in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go with the home team. They are your home team. Hour 3 of the show presented by Overstreet Properties in Starkville, overstreetproperties.com. Check them out. Headed Starkville, anything residential in and around Starkville. Stay in short-term, long-term, place to stay, place to live. That's where you go. Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Get it all right there, overstreetproperties.com. Saints fan SBO9 said, I've been to the battlefields of Vicksburg and Manassas in Virginia. I was impressed more with Vicksburg. How about that? Be neat to be able to see a lot of that stuff. Doggone texted and said, you're talking about the conditions at Vicksburg during that time. And the Civil War in 1862, July of 1863, June, anyway, May, June, July. He said, think about those soldiers marching across the South in the heat of the summer and snakes in a wool uniform toting a 35-pound backpack. Exactly. My uniform would be chalky after that with salt. And that's gross, but that's the truth. I mean, it's the truth. Now, look here. Anthony texted me something earlier, and I responded to him. I wonder what this is about. My Twitter experience is no longer what it was. In fact, I would actually highly recommend to anyone, I don't care what line of work you are in, what way of life you lead, I would just recommend what I do with Twitter to everybody. And that is just don't follow anybody. And I've got like 5 or 6 people that I follow. But I have a list that I created on the side of my Twitter account, and I kind of rotate it throughout the year. Like during football season, I put football people on there, and then I'll take those off and put this time of year, I have a lot of baseball people on there. And so I can just, if I want baseball stuff and results and information, I can go to Twitter and I have this list. But I'm not getting any notifications, and like I follow my dad and, you know, a couple other people. and so that's what I would actually recommend. And then the other part of, you know, my Twitter experience, what I've changed it to is I've been very, I've had a very short fuse with muting stuff, because you know how it is on Twitter. A lot of times people will just, they'll talk to you or they'll comment to you on Twitter, whether you want to hear from them or not. And anybody that gives me any indication that they might kind of sort of maybe kind of be an idiot, I just mute them. And you just click mute. You never have to see from, they can sit there and scream at you until they are blue in the face and you have no idea it's going on. They ain't no telling how many hundreds of people I've muted who might have tweeted at me, and I was like, I don't want to hear from them anymore, and mute it. So my Twitter experience is clean, man, and it is minimal, all right? Let me just tell you that. And what's great about that is then, like, during the show, if JB wants me to see something and he sends it to me on Twitter, it's really clear because there's nothing else coming in there, and boom, I see it. Like, he sent me this note that it was on this day in 1994 when Jim Everett, the former Rams quarterback, tried to beat up Jim Rome on his talk show on ESPN2. It was great because Jim Rome kept calling him Chris Everett, like the tennis player. He was egging it on, you know.
Which is not a bad compliment.
No,
you know? I guess unless you're an NFL quarterback.
Right. Or if you know the guy's picking a fight, you know.
Right.
But regardless, I have a really clean, minimal Twitter experience, okay? I tell you all of that because of this. Anthony from Tupelo texted the show and said, with all the grief John Cohen is getting on social media right now, can you imagine what kind of meltdown our fan base would have towards him if the NCAA makes host sites go to 25% capacity? Well, and I texted back to Anthony there to try to get some clarity. I don't know what that's about. Are we talking about something that happened? Have I missed something that happened? Is there an issue? Is there an incident? Is it more than normal? I mean, every coach and AD out there is going to get a, you know, certain amount of negative feedback on their social media channels. But I'm just wondering if I've missed something. Based on your text, Anthony, I'm just wondering. You say with all the, number one, you say with all the grief. Well, what kind of grief is he getting on social media? Number two, is it Twitter? Is it something else? Number three, what's it about? And then you say, can you imagine what kind of meltdown our fan base would have towards him if the NCAA makes host site? I mean, because it can't be, Anthony, like, why would he be catching grief about the NCAA making a decision to predetermine the host size? Like, he's got nothing to do with that. I just don't know what it is about, is all. And that's why I responded, Anthony, if you're listening, that's why I responded, hey, you know, give me some examples, kind of educate me on it, because right now I'd like to talk about it if something's going on or figure it out, but I don't know what's going on. I missed it somehow. Dog Tired in Florence says, what's this? Anderson Tully in Vicksburg will not cut lumber until after 4 o'clock for trees that come from the Civil War era because of the musket balls and hidden family heirlooms, clocks, coins, and silverware. What? Now you, like that line in that movie, you had my curiosity, now you have my attention. But you say after 4. Well, why? Okay. I got so many questions, dog tired. First of all, what's Anderson, Tully, and Vicksburg? What is that? Will not cut lumber until after 4 o'clock for trees that come from Civil War area because of the musket balls and hidden family heirlooms, clocks, coins, and silverware. What does that have to do with? I'm lost. What would 4 o'clock have to do with any of that? But we're saying that trees are coming in from Civil War areas full of musket balls and hidden family heirlooms? Clocks, coins, and silverware? Really? Not that I want any of it, but I want to tell that story. If you put me in touch with somebody, tell them I said we can tell that story. That is fascinating if true, even though I don't understand it. Like Dad says, I don't understand all I know about that. That is interesting. All right. I'll come back with your texts, and we'll jump over to the phone line as well. I'm Matt. Stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech-Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech-Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt. Just answer the questions. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if you know who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
A lot of people in the equipment world things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy, better buy, better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will save you money. Orchard fresh and delicious.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy, better buy, better buy Bird's Eye.
Now, if you know your oats and want to feel your oats and taste how good an oat cereal can be, well, you'll go for Cheerios. Great way to start the day with really great eating. That's Cheerios, one of the few foods made from
talk. Right here on the Matt Wyatt Show.
All right, here we go. All set to wrap up our third hour of the show here with you today on this Tuesday. I'm going to start it off with Bruce, who's been hanging on for a while on the Davini Equipment phone line. Thanks for hanging on, Bruce. What's up?
How about it, Matt? How are you today, buddy?
Doing all right, as far as I know.
All righty. I'm going to pick on John Cohen a little bit. It also has to do with apparently some folks on his staff. And I'll try not to make this long, but it's crazy how many times Ole Miss baseball will be playing a T-ball team or a women's B-League softball team. It could be an intramural game. It's on the radio. They broadcast every single baseball game. But for some strange reason, and I don't really know why, our baseball broadcast is very limited early on, and it's very difficult to find a radio station, even though their network, that will actually flip the switch and carry the game on the weekends once we start conference play. And I have sent an email to John. I got a very form letter response. I'm about ready to fire another one to him because it's something I've done since 1977. I've always followed him on the radio when I was working out in the yard. Why can't we have better access on the radio?
That's a good question. And it comes up a lot, Bruce, compared to other things that come up, at least in terms of questions I get. I get that question a lot. All right, so let me throw a couple things out. Number one, it doesn't really have anything to do with John.
Okay.
But he's the athletics director, and he's got access to anybody who would have something to do with it. Okay, so that's fair. But what you have, please don't take this as, well, Matt's fixing to go down a 10-minute diatribe at trying to talk over our heads about some. That's not what I'm doing. Just know that Learfield is the overall company that owns the rights to State's radio broadcast. Does that make sense? So that's the company. Now, they have an office with some people in it on campus, but they don't actually work for State. They work for Learfield, which is based in Jefferson City, Missouri. Okay?
Gotcha.
Recently, Learfield and IMG, those used to be two competing media rights holders for colleges and stuff. Recently, they merged.
Yeah, and they merged, yeah.
And that's why now, if you listen to Jim Ellis on the radio, he'll go, you're listening to Mississippi State Baseball with Learfield IMG College. Okay, he gets to say the whole thing. Okay, so there's that. So it's really, in terms of, number one, lining up or contracting with local radio affiliates and stations to carry the games, that's a Learfield responsibility. That's their wheelhouse. That's what they're supposed to be doing as a part of their relationship. Number two, whether or not that local station carries a midweek game versus a weekend game or a men's basketball versus a women's basketball. It is, for all intents and purposes, up to that local station, dependent upon their contractual agreement to be an affiliate. Does that make sense? So
yeah. Now here in Central Mississippi, when basketball season's still going on, on the station that you're on, that will carry the basketball game.
Yeah.
106.3 The Fan is the baseball affiliate.
Right.
And the Saturday, Sunday games,
right,
more times than not, are not on the radio.
Right. Well,
even though it's a conference game.
Yeah. Right. So a lot of it has to do with that relationship. The relationship with radio affiliates related to Ole Miss in this state has always been different because of, and I'm not going to name names, but because of one company, okay, that is a big radio company in this state that does have a lot of stations in different places, and they are very much. Well, hold on.
Yeah.
They are very, very much in Ole Miss's corner, especially in regards to that relationship. I mean, their people aren't attending games in Starkville; they're attending games in Oxford. They may be up there tonight. That's the way that works. Okay, so you got to understand that too. It's just different relationships. That's just anywhere you go. Right. Okay, so that's probably part of it also. So I'm not trying to tell you that the answer is complicated. You as a state fan, you got an SEC school, you ought to be able to pick it up. Here's the last thing that I would say is supply pretty much will always meet demand, okay? Pretty much always. And what I would tell you, Bruce, this is not me telling you what to do. It's just a suggestion. No matter where you are, no matter where you live, there's a way to listen to whatever game's being broadcast. And Jim Ellis is doing a broadcast of every single Mississippi State baseball game, even the ones that may not pop up on your local radio station. And what I would encourage you to do is, we live in a time now where if you want it, you can get it. There's a way to get it. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's frustrating to have to download an app
I understand that. Yes.
And burn your precious data, so to speak.
I understand.
For the sake of listening to something that should be on a radio station for free.
I get it. I would just tell you that, you've reached out to somebody like John at the school. I would tell you that reaching out to the local station, you and others, might do just as much good. And I know that's maybe not.
If you can get an actual human being to answer the phone.
Yeah, bingo. Bingo.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, Bruce, that's why you ought to have your insurance, for instance, with Farm Bureau, because you deal with a real person. Bruce, I appreciate your phone call, man.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate you. I might be getting an answer. Winslow is up on the Davini Equipment phone line about this Civil War trees with musket balls stuff. Help me out, Winslow. What do I need to know?
Yeah, man, I was fortunate. My dad was in the timber industry, and so I tagged along with him through the years, and he used to oversee, like, not only timber cutting, but sawmills. And you're talking about metal embedded inside of logs.
Right.
And that can ruin your sawmill situation. If you've got whatever kind of saw you've got, you hit metal inside a log, it can tear that up and shut you down. And he did the same thing back then. If they had cut trees that were along an old fence line that probably had wire nailed to them, first off, he would tell them to cut the tree above there. And then second, if they had some that they knew were like that, he'd save them to the end of the day, because if it shuts you down, it shuts you down at the end of the day, and you don't lose, half a day or a whole day dealing with your broken saw situation or your damaged saw situation. So that's why they do that. If those trees come from areas where they were known to be battles, they probably mark them as high risk, and keep them to the end of the day. And in that way, if it breaks a saw or it has to be changed, they only lose, an hour or two maybe at the end of the day.
That is fascinating to me. I didn't know that. Okay, and so we're not saying – so you're saying they would do it at the end of the day, so if they did get shut down, they could maybe get things back up and running by the next morning?
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen a bandsaw like in the commercial sawmills, but, they're this long band, and they're kind of thin and everything, and if one of them, hits metal inside of a log, it can either damage them or break them, and either way, you're shut down and you're losing all that production time. So you don't want that to happen at 10 a.m. and kill the rest of the day. You want it to happen late in the day, when you're able to recover for the next day.
Hey, and listen, the text that I got from Dog Tired in Florence, he not only mentioned trees coming from Civil War areas because they had musket balls in them, but hidden family heirlooms in them, clocks and coins and silverware in trees. I'm like, what's that all about?
That kind of blew my mind. I'm familiar with nails and what have you, and I could see musket balls getting embedded, but I never heard of people hiding clocks inside of a tree. You would think it almost had to be hollow to accommodate that.
Yeah. And if it were hollow, it hadn't been sitting there for 165 years,
I don't know, but the bottom line is that when you have metal inside of a log, it's dangerous.
Yeah, isn't that something? Well, I appreciate you educating me on that, Winslow. Thank you.
All right, see you.
See you. Now, Jason is on here, and Jason, I've run up against the clock, got like 1 minute. But so heirlooms in trees, huh? How'd they get there?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. They hid stuff in trees, and they had it was a get while you're right, just running, and you had plenty of opportunities to just stash your stuff and leave. So
and never came back.
There have been trees that have been cut. Yep, trees have been cut. So, I mean, a whole grandfather clock has been cut in half.
Wow.
They have it on display in Vicksburg. Yeah.
That is incredible. Jason, thank you for telling me that.
Yep. All right, right on.
Yeah, have a good one.
Sounds good.
Isn't that crazy? That is just amazing. I don't know why that fascinates me. I understand it. They're hiding stuff. They just left it in the tree and it grew around it? Wow. All right, Joe. See you tomorrow.
Another load of Smart Pills has been distributed, and I'm slap worn out. So I'll just say, so long, neighbors. Get me out of here, Percy.
When you choose Clinton Body Shop to repair your